Intuitive decision-making is seen as a spontaneous flow of recognition and interpretation of data in the face of a problem, followed by a strategic choice of action to solve it. This decision-making process does not necessarily follow a linear path, but it can be the most valuable and creative resource for overcoming the rigidities that obstruct our progress. Intuition is a psychological function that helps us process and perceive various pieces of information that do not appear in rational logical thinking. We know there is much to consider before making a decision. Usually, we use our rational function at these moments. However, we do not always have enough time, reliable information, or even control over the results of our choices from a cause and effect perspective. Intuition helps in dealing with these situations of uncertainty, pressure, and unpredictability by bringing creative and versatile solutions to consciousness. However, this tool is often misunderstood or underestimated. In this video, I will present the value of intuitive decision-making for making good choices and its complementarity to those decisions that only consider rational logical criteria. But first, I would like to invite you to subscribe to this channel, click the like button, and share this video with your loved ones. Process of intuitive decision-making, whether it's something simple, like what clothes to wear, or complex choices, like which profession to follow, there are aspects that go beyond the logical, objective, and even effective criteria available. However, when we analyze the details of our immediate experience to extract data that allow us to decide which direction to take, we generally focus on our five senses. Let's proceed together with the simplest and hypothetical situation of choosing clothes to leave the house in the morning. We can seek the security of this more conventional decision in the details. What colors and styles of clothes are clean and ironed for me to wear? Is it hot or cold? Today I feel more reserved, and since the event is a meeting, I will wear this olive suit. We engage the senses of vision, touch, and smell. The apprehension of reality seems to happen through the most concrete details. With the data in hand, we evaluate. Notice that in this example, feeling and thinking judge the collected information and give the final verdict. However, the script could have been very different if guided by intuitive decision-making. Scenarios for intuitive decision-making. First scenario of an intuitive decision. You catch a glimpse of a dress you wore to a pleasant lunch with a friend you haven't seen in a long time. So, you decide to wear it, almost as a way to feel closer to her. The dress also fits other criteria, so it seems perfect. Result: when you arrive at the courthouse, you accidentally meet your friend at the cafe, you hug, and you go much more relaxed to the hearing. Second scenario of an intuitive decision. Seeing a dress, you remember a dream you had the same night. The outcome was pleasant because you were wearing exactly that dress. Emboldened by the dream images and the feelings they evoked, you decide to wear that dress. When you arrive at the hearing, everything goes well, and the outcome surprisingly reminds you of the feeling from the dream again. How did you gather the information to decide on your outfit in these two examples? With your intuition. In Carl Gustav Jung's psychology, intuition is a psychological function for apprehending reality as valuable as sensory perception. These synchronous events I described earlier were favored by contact with intuition, far from being founded on a logic of cause and effect. This is explained because, even before humans developed abstract thinking and rational language, as Carl G. Jung pointed out, communication among members of the same group was through symbolic thinking, rooted in the world of images. The mythology of ancient peoples, for example, is a form of communication of the deepest truths of human beings, communicated through symbolic thinking, which today seems unreal and fantastical to us. The same applies to other symbolic languages, such as astrology and the dream world itself, the dreams that visit us every night. Factors that influence intuition. But how do I access this precious resource and start making intuitive decisions? To get closer to your intuitions and interpret as accurately as possible what they mean, it is important to value languages that are not logical rational, familiarizing yourself with the world of images. In a Jungian analysis process, this is the main approach. But certainly, the relationship with intuition can and should be established independently of anyone else, beyond yourself. So, I provide a list to help you start using this valuable resource for making complex and even high-pressure decisions. Write down your dreams, follow the symbols and characters that appear there. Describe how they change depending on the context you are living in and what you are feeling. Read and be enchanted by the mythologies of various peoples. Get closer to various artistic languages, whether through literature, cinema, visual arts, or photography. Close your eyes to the material world and meditate or imagine scenarios and situations. Then reproduce/register the images you accessed through drawings, collages, or other forms of visual arts. The important thing is that you can connect to the senses to which the images point, even if it is not possible to transcribe them into the conceptual form of abstract thought. Intuition versus rational analysis. Returning to the example of choosing clothes to leave the house in the morning, I intend to highlight how intuitive decision-making and decision-making based on rational analysis are complementary and become deficient and incomplete when applied in isolation. Carl G. Jung explains that the human psyche functions by operating according to four main psychological functions: intuition, thinking, feeling, and sensation. This means that some people are more intuitive than others. As with everything in life, the ideal is for the less developed points to reach consciousness so that we can make use of their tools. Or rather, intuitive decision-making and rational decision-making can be complementary. After all, what good is it for an intuitive person to be an expert in collecting unconscious information and being aware of the still hidden future, but not being able to judge them adequately to make decisions and put their objectives into practice to achieve fulfillment in life? On the other hand, in the same measure, someone who operates in a purely rational logic or values the data they obtain lacks a broader and more creative vision of future possibilities. In these cases, people often do not access intuitive decision-making and remain restricted to bureaucratic solutions, procrastinating on more strategic decisions. This results in a loss of meaning and significance in their lives. Practical applications of intuition. We can find examples of the practical application of intuitive decision-making in various fields, but here I will focus on sports and music. The total focus on the present moment and the closer connection with bodily activities make practicing most sports an ideal occasion to access one of the intuition channels I mentioned earlier: meditation. In activities requiring a deeper degree of concentration, insights can appear through repetitive movements, which are almost ritualistic. We have seen here that although supplanted in our consciousness by reason and abstract thinking, intuition remains as alive as ever in our individual and collective unconscious and can be accessed whenever there is an individual's interest and psychological availability. Its practical applications can be transformative for your future. Remember that intuition can be used in various stages of the decision-making process, such as seeing the problem more deeply and identifying less obvious options, gathering information beyond concrete data, and visualizing and imagining possibilities beyond the obvious. However, it is worth emphasizing the importance of knowing yourself, your individual characteristics, your abilities, and your limitations to avoid rushing. Therefore, controlling impulsiveness is desirable, especially not to make decisions based on others' expectations of you. Have alternative plans. Intuitive decision-making allows us to envision various scenarios by activating our creativity. Thus, do not overanalyze and do not let fear paralyze you, as every decision is an opportunity for fulfillment. Whatever means you use to access this psychological function of intuition, know that by navigating the paths of communication with this unconscious tool, it can bring valuable resources for more integrated decision-making with a promising future. I invite you to embark on this journey.